Hello, hello, Endo sisters and supporters. I am Kenny King, one of your K&K Real Talk hosts, whatever. I am hosting solo today. Kristen is out today, so you're stuck with me. Well, I guess you're not really stuck. You technically don't have to watch. You could turn off the video, but here we are. So yeah, let's have some fun today. So if we haven't met yet, I am a health, wellness, and life coach who specializes in empowering women with endometriosis to improve their quality of life through lifestyle changes without turning their lives upside down. So Kristen McCroby, the founder of Endometriosis, and me, we do a lot of collaborative work together, and we're actually working on something special for you ladies. We're working on a live well protocol to just jumpstart that process of improving your quality of life. So be on the lookout. We're going to be unveiling that in the coming weeks or in about a month or so. So Kristen and I planned on talking about what makes endo the worst. So I was actually really excited about today because the two of us were just going to chat back and forth about, what we, if endo was a person and we were going to kind of put them on blast, what we might say. And so I just thought, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to talk to you about it. And I'm sure there are a million reasons why endo is the worst. I'm just going to talk about a few things, and perhaps we'll continue this conversation with other endo sisters over time. And so, we're here. So vent. Let us know what makes it the worst for you. And I'm just going to jump right in. Because I think any one of us endo goddesses would be able to talk about this subject probably for hours on end. So here are some of my thoughts on what makes endo the worst. There's so many things, and I think one thing for sure is surgical diagnosis. If you've heard my story, you know that I knew I had endo, but waited 12 years to get a diagnosis because I just didn't want to have surgery if I didn't need surgery. And there is a silver lining here, which is I did manage my symptoms well enough through lifestyle that I delayed my need for surgery. But we're not here to talk about silver linings. It's crap. I mean, let's just put it out there. It's crap that endo requires surgery for a definitive diagnosis. This causes delays in diagnoses. A non-invasive procedure may be just around the corner. I have been reading some interesting research, but that doesn't change the fact that we got to have people all up in our insides, cutting into muscle and tissue just to say, yep, you've got the endo, lady. Thanks. Thanks for that, endo. I'm looking forward to them really understanding the condition so much more so that we don't have to go through so much just to get a diagnosis. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why endo is the worst. Another reason is the pain and random symptoms. You talk to two women with endometriosis, and while some symptoms are similar, some go way off into, the deep end on something, which leads us to going, is this endo related or is this maybe something totally different? But it is systemic. Endometriosis is now being looked at as an autoimmune condition. Endo is a systemic condition. It impacts how everything functions, and because of that, or let me say it this way, this is a better way of saying it, it lowers your immune system. And because of that, because we're fighting inflammation, because it depends on inflammation in the system, and because of a few other key factors, it lowers the immune system and the body to let you know that, hey, something's really wrong here. I'd like you to pay attention to me. gives you all of these symptoms from head to toe that don't even seem to be connected half the time. And so here we are feeling like we have some sort of reproductive flu that, you know, comes with, it consists of eviscerating the organs with every kind of medieval torture device you can imagine. Like if I were to explain how it feels, that's probably how I would. Like when you think of medieval um, torture and all of the different things that they did, it's like, yeah, that, you put all that from the inside out instead of the outside in, and that's pretty much endo. I mean, you've got the pulling and the throbbing and the stabbing and the bloating and the endo belly, and those two are different. The hair loss and the headaches and the dizziness and I can't stand upright and anemia and bruising and fatigue and I can't sleep. I'm sleeping too much. I'm not hungry. I don't have an appetite. All I can do is eat. It's like it's so different for each woman, and then some of these things are the same, and then it shows up in all these different ways. And when there are women who would rather endure natural childbirth over an endo flare up, that's saying something, right? And it can be tough to remember that better is possible when in the midst of agony. We don't want to hear it. We might know that better is possible, but when we're in it, we don't want to hear it because everything sucks and life sucks and we're in pain and it hurts and we're miserable, and all we want in the world is maybe for some support or for somebody to just acknowledge our misery, that it's real. I could go off on a tangent on that being one of those what makes endo the worst. But I won't get into that because we'll be here forever, and I don't want to keep you here forever. But yeah, we don't want to hear it in those moments, or we beat ourselves up. Because if you are anything like me, and if maybe you have changed your lifestyle to support a healthier, pain-free body, and you have an off week or an off month, or you've just been under excessive stress because of a tragedy, or just because your kids are crazy, or whatever it is, and then you have a flare up, or maybe it's not a full-blown flare-up, but you've just had this horrible cycle and you blame yourself. And maybe you say something like, I knew better. I know better. I know better. I knew better. Why did I eat that? Why did I let that bother me? Why did I let it get to me? And then you turn that pain, you're already experiencing physical pain and emotional pain, and then you turn that in words as this attack on yourself with blame and shame and guilt. And it's like, man, how many ways can it sneak in? How many ways can it try to get you and get the claws in? So remembering that aspect, if that is you, if you got off track or didn't get off track, and then suddenly you're in more pain than you're used to being in anymore, taking that time to just step back and nourish yourself. I know that's easy for me to say right now in this moment, and it's not easy for us to say to ourselves when we're in it, but remembering just to take that time to be kind to ourselves is because the angst and the negative self-talk and the inner attack that we have going on, that doesn't help the stress and the inflammation. That does not help us feel better. All it does is make it worse. We get tight, we get tense, we're mad, we're angry, even if it's anger at ourselves and turned inward. So yeah, that's one of that makes endo the worst. Not only is it, the level of pain that maybe a pain pill's not even touching, or you've tried all of these things, and or you found what works for your body, and then you get off track and you are an asshole to yourself because you got off track. So there's there's those things. Those make endo pretty much the worst. What else? What else makes endo the worst? You know, this actually goes straight to, this came up while I was talking about the other one, is conventional treatments being rejected by the body. Endo pain, birth control. Endo pain, drugs. Endo pain, Mirena, or whatever it is, all these different, hormone replacement therapies, all these different therapies. And here you are, you're fighting. You're actively taking responsibility and working towards a solution. And your body says, no, ma'am. Here you are. And by the way, if those things work for you, I'm not saying those are bad. You do you. Explore what works, and follow what works for you. If it relieves your pain, if it relieves your pressure, if it relieves the symptoms, there's no right or wrong. There's no right path here. So this isn't beating up conventional treatments. I do believe that conventional treatments do better when also holistic and lifestyle treatments are done in conjunction with them. I believe that you respond to conventional treatments better, to the medicinal treatments better. But there isn't one path here. So I'm just talking about when you try something and it makes your body worse, and you're tired and you're frustrated because your body's literally dislodging your Mirena. It sucks. So, or a prescription is making you crazy, or suddenly new conditions, diagnoses, and symptoms pop up, and now you're on the search for something for your new symptom. And that new symptom is related to a treatment for these other symptoms. And it's like, thanks, Endo. Thanks for being so batshit crazy that my doctors can't even figure you out. I'm thankful that I went through what I went through, because some of this happened to me and it allowed me to learn. My body said nope to many of the conventional treatments, and I wouldn't be where I am today if that hadn't happened. Because I did go on the search for natural remedies, and those for me were more supportive. But let's face it, let's talk about what we really want, which is a miracle pill or potion that is taken one time, miraculously removes endo from our bodies forevermore. Sometimes we just need to create some space to be mad and acknowledge that it sucks. End of story. I mean, that's just it. For all of these things, like all of these reasons why endo is the worst, I really could flip it right around and tell you, but here's the solution for that, or here's what your body's trying to tell you, or here's the message in it. There's an underlying message. But sometimes we just need to give ourselves space to acknowledge that this sucks. I'm mad. I don't want to reframe it. I don't want to feel better in this moment. I just want to acknowledge that I'm miserable, that I don't like it, and that's that. And okay, don't live there. Don't live there. It doesn't serve you to live there. I'm like pointing. Yeah. I've started noticing on these videos, I have like really large hands. Like they're like this big as my head. My fingers are really long. Anyway. All right. What else? Oh, this one is huge. I don't even know. I almost don't want to bring it up just because I could really go off on a tangent here. But interrupting sexy time. I mean, let's be real. You've got your lingerie and your music and your mood lighting or whatever. and if it's me, I'm like, here I am. I'm ready to get my romance on with the hubs, and everything hurts and I'm pretty sure I'm dying. And I'm also uncertain at how long it'll be until we can be intimate without pain and without feeling like I'm dying. And that is, I am very fortunate. I have a loving, patient husband who doesn't want to see me hurt or in pain. And while pain during sexy time is no longer a thing for me, it's at least not a regular occurrence. I'm not saying it'll never happen again. It was devastating. devastating to want to connect with my husband in that way, and that it hurt me so badly that even after I began to improve, he would still like study my, do any of your, partners like study your face for signs of discomfort, like just in case you don't tell them? And I know some of you don't. I know some of you like suffer through, and I would just encourage you to be honest and to honor yourself and your body and your pain and what you need in those moments. Because I mean, I just know that that happens, and I know that it happens, more than it should. And I see, in fact, I've seen so many of you in the endometriosis group talking about, being afraid that your partner's going to leave you, or being afraid that, well, how patient could they possibly be? And this part is heartbreaking. So first, like, let's just be mad about the fact that something that's supposed to be pleasurable and intimate, and the way that you connect with the person that you love the most in the world, happens to be something that can cause a great deal of pain. And not just in that instance, but you might not recover for days, or for some of you, I know it's weeks. I've had times where I thought I was physically going to be ill, like vomit afterwards, and like my head, like just all of like symptoms that weren't even located in my pelvic region, that, were all like the pain there, and then maybe a sudden headache, or maybe, just suddenly being nauseous, and all of it. And so there are things that can be done. And but I hope that you value yourself and your truth enough, to at least work on that communication factor. I know that part is difficult. I know it's difficult to share your truth and your vulnerability, but you do deserve a partner that is going to listen and be supportive and care about the fact that you're in pain. And I'm just not even in this moment going to acknowledge the people, or not, I'm not going to acknowledge the unsupportive people who can't respect that you're in pain. I just can't right now, because I'm already a little emotional just talking about the subject, because it's such a sensitive, such a devastating, such a painful. It's not just physically painful. It impacts you mentally and emotionally and spiritually. It impacts you in every aspect. And even in the most supportive marriage, it does impact your marriage. So I am here to say that if this is you, you can improve this aspect. You can improve all aspects by working with your body to reduce inflammation. And I'm not saying that it happens overnight, but I am saying that improving your overall symptoms will help this one, and it will. And that part of the journey, I know, can be very devastating, painful, frustrating. It might be one of the most painful aspects, because when we're in pain and when we're in relationships, we want to be able to connect with the person that we love the most. And there's a piece of that that feels like it gets taken away. And so that is one of the many reasons that endo is the worst. So I'm going to move on, so that I don't totally break down on you guys, because you're not here to see me ugly cry on camera. It happens from time to time, but I'm not doing it today. So, what makes endo the worst? I think it's what we don't know. What makes endo the worst is how much we don't know, and how it fools women into believing that there's nothing we can do. That makes it the worst. I think that's my biggest beef with endo. It's that it has And I know that the reason that we don't, I know that it's just now getting its time in the light. I know that so many research studies are happening right now. I'm seeing them everywhere, and it's amazing and it's wonderful. Women are speaking up and speaking out. This shame factor is being removed slowly. I know that some of us are still afraid to say it out loud, or just to say, in common, in talking to your children or talking to your family or trying to explain what's happening to your body. And it's, it's a reproductive thing. It's not always comfortable, and there's been some stigma and shame, and just like how people don't talk about periods. I mean, hello. But we're getting better, we're improving. But I think culturally and medically, there's a responsibility there. There's an aspect of that it's fresher. It's not new. I mean, it's not, but it's fresher on the mainstream and newer there. And so because there's so much we don't know, and because our view is limited and narrow, and because the view of the medical community is sometimes limited and narrow, not always, um, we so many women are believing that there's nothing to do. This is my normal. This is how I have to live the rest of my life. I'm in chronic pain. It's infiltrating my system, and it's just going to come back with a vengeance, and it's just going to get worse, and it's going to go everywhere, and it's going to be on my bowel and my, and I know some of you already are experiencing it there. And we have women going in just very young ages, just getting hysterectomies, thinking that that's going to make it go away. And it's heartbreaking to see this, because when they have a hysterectomy and then it doesn't make it go away, that there's a systemic issue happening here. The defeat and this sense of there's nothing I can do. And there are so many things that we get to do and that we can do. But then that's a double-edged sword, because we get overwhelmed. We hear that there are things we can do, and we start researching these things. And then we get overwhelmed because there's so much that we can do. And, I try to tell my clients, when in overwhelm, when you look at all these things that you want to do and all these things that you want to try, remembering that the fact that there are so many things, that's hope. That means that there's an abundance of opportunities to reduce and relieve symptoms, to reduce it chronically growing back or being as invasive as it can possibly be. So if that's you and you are overwhelmed, or you get overwhelmed and it stops you in your tracks. I've done this before. I've done it where I got to a certain point and then I got overwhelmed and I was like, this is taking over my whole life. I can't do this. I'm not gonna do this. And so I just I took the relief that I had gotten up until that point, but I didn't continue my journey. And don't do that. Don't be like me in that time frame, because better is always possible. And there are, don't allow possibility stop you. We get overwhelmed because there's possibility. Look at possibility as hope. We'll do whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm clearly not your boss, but I want to encourage you to acknowledge that when I'm in overwhelm, it means there's so many possibilities. There are so many different decisions, and I can just take a step back and let's narrow it down. Let's pick a couple, let's go, and let's work. And then we can always continue to up level and adapt and add in new options. There are nutritional changes, lifestyle changes. There's acupuncture. There are essential oils, environmental changes. That's a big one, by the way, environmental changes. Mental and emotional changes, mindset changes, energy healing, stress relief. There's so much. I will say that nutrition, movement, those are some big ones. And then the environmental factors, those are definitely some big ones that can make some pretty immediate impact. You'd be amazed at how much you can change with just a few steps. So keep that in mind if you get overwhelmed. And then to speak to the first one, the aspect of not wanting to explore what might help us, or exploring something. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, we'll go, yeah, okay, I'll try that. And we try it for a week. Like, we, make a dietary change, or we, diet or nutrition. I hate the word diet, nutrition and exercise, shift those things. And a week later, we're like, I didn't do anything. It didn't work. I give up. I stopped. The body needs some time to adapt. And so there are ways to improve, but we don't always want to explore what will help us. Sometimes we want to wallow in it. We want to wallow, we want to be pissed off, we want to be miserable. And that's fair, by the way. It is fair to acknowledge how you feel. But living there, like I said earlier, doesn't serve you. So going to that place of, I have an incurable disease, and this is my normal, and this is why my life is miserable, and why me, why me, why me? You have so much power. You can do so much more than you even know. You're capable of so much more than you even know. And better is possible. So don't give up, sister. Don't give up. Try the aloe vera, try the essential oil, or, probiotics, or the hot tea. Work on living a healthier life. Work on lowering the stress one step at a time, or making the nutritional changes one step at a time. You don't have to do this overnight. If you want better, if you want to live in the misery, live in the misery. That is your choice. You do you. That is your choice. But right now, I'm talking to those of you who are sick of it and who are done. And I'm telling you that if you want better, fight it. What makes Endo truly the worst is that it tries to convince us that it holds all the power over our lives. And I'm here to tell you that it's bullshit. It is utter and complete bullshit, and that you are worth more and you deserve more. So I really actually plan on keeping it lighthearted today. But it didn't pan out exactly like I expected, which is fine because I kept it real, and this is called Real Talk. And we're talking about, the ins and outs, the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the journey that is Endo. So thank you for, being here with me today, and I'd love to hear any feedback or responses. And once again, like we always say, Kristen and I are doing this for you. So if there is a subject that you want answers on, or that you want to talk about, or that you would like to have explained for you, or that you'd just like to have it explained and shared because there's somebody that you love that needs to understand it, and maybe it coming from somewhere else, they'll hear it better, let us know. Please don't hesitate to reach out to one of us and say, hey, please talk about XYZ on Real Talk. I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say on Real Talk. Or if there's something specific, let us know, because we're doing this for you. And that's it. I mean, we are here for you. So I will leave you with that. And remember that you can stay connected with me over at Endometriosis, Nourish, Flourish, Thrive. That is it's a closed support group, endometriosis support group, focused on natural ways of improving symptoms. And that's how you can connect with me and stay connected with me. We're running a movement challenge right now. We run challenges from time to time in that group to help you improve your quality of life. And if you're wanting to go further, faster, if you're wanting a step-by-step process to learn how to actually thrive with Endo, let me know. I've got your back. That's literally what I do. So I am currently offering a free 60-minute Thriving with Endo breakthrough session. So if you would like to take advantage of that, just reach out to me directly and let me know, and we'll get you all set up and on track to Thriving with Endo. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here, and supporters if you're a guy and you happen to be here too. Thank you so much. Kristen sends her love as well. She'll be back with us next week. She's been moving and getting settled. And so we will see you soon.